What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren, and today we have some pretty big news about Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. I have to specify because we have recently heard that it is indeed possible for us to get a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi coming back to have that final movie that they were supposed to do. Thomas Hayden Church says he had heard that it is happening, and Sam Raimi recently commented on it, basically stating that, hey, when the timing is right, I'd love to do it. So that is totally possible. Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire coming back for their Spider-Man 4 movie, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. But today we are talking about our current Spider-Man in the MCU, Tom Holland, and his next Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 4 in the MCU. Now this is coming out before Avengers Secret Wars, and we believe before Avengers the Kang Dynasty, since Sony has wanted it out pretty much next summer. However, the last we heard, it sounds like Kevin Feige kind of got his way and they're pushing that back to December of 2025. But today we do have some interesting plot details about how Peter Parker / Spider-Man is going to be in Spider-Man 4 and how this will build up to Avengers the Kang Dynasty, Avengers 5, whatever we're calling it right now. Based off of what we heard, it still could be Kang Dynasty, but they could switch it just a little bit. But regardless of what they decide to do, it sounds like our Peter Parker, our Spider-Man, is going to play a really big role in the next two Avengers films. So let's break down this new report about Spider-Man 4 today, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. So this new information about Spider-Man 4 is coming from the insider Alex Perez over at thecosmiccircus.com, a very credible outlet, and Alex Perez is a very credible insider himself. And recently they did an Ask Me Anything on their Discord server, where the members of the Discord server could ask Alex any questions they want. If he knew some information, he could tell them. If he didn't, one thing I do like about the way they do the Ask Me Anything is they simply state they don't know. But when it came to being asked about Spider-Man 4, he did know quite a bit of information. He was asked, "Hey Alex, hope you're doing okay. Lots of love. I have a few questions regarding Tom's Spider-Man. Not just Spider-Man 4, but more so what the character of Peter may appear to be like moving forward. Could we expect him to appear much older and more mature in the next films? Will he be that beacon of hope of NYC to help people, as was mentioned in the last film?" And this was Alex's response, and it was a great and very detailed response. He said, "Peter's first trilogy was all about establishing his origin in the MCU. I know people complained about him being a novice and acting childish at times, but that's who he is. He's just 15 when we meet him in Civil War and 17 by the time No Way Home ends," which is, a really great point. He is very young in Civil War, and he still is pretty dang young by the time No Way Home ends. 15 to 16 to 17, that's pretty young. He's a teenager. He's not an adult yet. And, by that time, he has saved not just the Earth, but the universe. And now he's going to go on to save the multiverse. But Alex continues by stating, "In Homecoming, Peter wanted to prove himself to be an Avenger alongside Tony, but realized that being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man was better for him. In Infinity War and Endgame, he was forced to rise to the challenge of being an Avenger. In Far From Home, he struggles with establishing himself as his own hero when everyone expects him to be the next Iron Man, and all he wants after everything he's been through is to have a normal moment as Peter Parker. This thread is further explored in No Way Home when his identity is revealed and he learns that Peter Parker and Spider-Man cannot truly coexist without putting the people he loves in danger." And what Alex just said right there is very important for Spider-Man 4 and just Spider-Man / Peter Parker moving forward in the MCU. Alex Perez continues and he states, "This all leads to the next chapter in his story. The idea now moving forward is to give him a sense of independence. In his mind, Peter Parker is no more, but Spider-Man lives on. Since he has either lost or detached himself from everyone he's ever loved, all he has to keep him going is being Spider-Man, whether the city loves him for it or not. And as the title of Spider-Man continues to consume Peter's life little by little, Peter Parker will take a backseat and continue to fade from existence slowly. This story point can be compared to Robert Pattinson's Batman in The Batman." Now this makes a ton of sense because this is simply the direction that has already been set up for the next Spider-Man film, and I might add that this is the direction that Kevin Feige has wanted and wants Spider-Man to go down, and this is actually what he was fighting against Sony about. Sony wanted the movie to be much bigger than it was planning on being in terms of scale. Clearly, really, based off of what we have heard about Spider-Man 4 and what has been set up already from the ending of Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man 4 is really supposed to be about Peter Parker embracing the Spider-Man side, fighting crime, street-level crime, not being a part of the Avengers team, realizing that as Spider-Man, those around him will get hurt. Those he loves are in danger of getting hurt, so he puts aside Peter Parker since now nobody knows who he is, and he just goes all in to Spider-Man. And it's great to hear that that looks like that is what we're going to be getting, with the exception of at the end, we probably are going to get a big multiversal scene. From what we have heard about the Sony Marvel situation, Kevin Feige mostly got his way, but they said they can still put a pretty big multiversal scene at the end of Spider-Man 4. That way it can link into the overall multiverse saga and of course into the next two Avengers films. But this might explain why we really haven't heard about any of the previous cast returning. Basically, all we've heard at this point, and it really isn't even confirmed at this point, but all we've heard is Zendaya is going to return, which does make sense. It would make sense if we got another scene like we did at the end. He goes in to have some food, goes to the diner, kind of talks to her a little bit, but you know, they don't know each other. Or if she doesn't know him at least. Although Marvel Studios did confirm that at the end, she did get a little feeling of remembrance. Not that she completely remembered who he was, but she got a little feeling that she might know who he was. So maybe at the end, they might explore that a little bit, but it sounds like for the most part, it's just Spider-Man. Peter Parker is no more. MJ and Ned are going to college, so that's probably why they aren't going to be in the movie that much. Seems like we are going to have a movie that is for the most part all about Spider-Man, and I specifically say Spider-Man and not Peter Parker. Now, there is a line that Alex Perez said where he says he has to keep going being Spider-Man whether the city loves him for it or not, and I think this ties into the Kingpin being the mayor of New York City plot that we know Spider-Man 4 is going to go down, where Kingpin becomes the mayor and he states that being a vigilante is now illegal. So naturally, there are going to be some people out there who are not going to like Spider-Man because he is a masked vigilante. However, I think a lot of people aren't going to be so quick to forget that these vigilantes, these superheroes, are the people who saved the entire universe. So he's still going to have some fans out there. Now, as far as tying into the new Avengers project, Avengers 5, apparently Spider-Man 4 is going to be the last, if not one of the last films to directly set up Avengers 5. And the reason it's going to be one of the last ones going into it is because Tom Holland is supposed to be the lead of the movie. I'm not saying he is the leader of the Avengers, but the lead character of the movie, meaning a lot of the focus will be on him, which makes a lot of sense. You might have seen on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, wherever, a lot of talk from some big outlets, I might add, of reports from Marvel Studios stating that they are still trying to figure out who their new leader of the MCU is. They lost Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, and they're trying to discover who the lead is right now. Well, Spider-Man is definitely one of the lead characters. Not saying he's a leader, again, but one of the lead characters. You could also make the argument for other characters, of course, like Doctor Strange, like Wanda, but I think most people would agree Spider-Man is definitely one of those main lead characters, and it sounds like that's what Marvel thinks now too. Going into Avengers 5, he's going to be one of the lead characters. And since he is going to be one of the leads going into Avengers Secret Wars, we could probably assume that he'll be a lead of that movie as well, unless he somehow dies like he did in Avengers Infinity War, but I wonder if Marvel would do that twice. I really doubt he would sit out most of Avengers Secret Wars like he did in Avengers Endgame. Plus, Marvel Studios did that on purpose so they could focus on, you know, the OG Avengers. But going into Secret Wars, he is kind of one of the OG Avengers now, based off of the current roster that we have of Avengers characters remaining. Not a true OG, but again, he's been around since Civil War, a long time. We know that the multiverse is going to start to collapse, and we know that due to these incursions, we might lose some characters. However, I'm really not seeing Tom Holland's character being one of those that we lose. I actually think that his character is going to really step up in the next two Avengers films, and going forward in the MCU after those films, going into Spider-Man 5 and 6, we'll see him really flourish. We'll see him really be a great Spider-Man. Plus, he should be teaching Miles Morales how to be Spider-Man as well, and I'm really looking forward to that. So the future of Tom Holland's Spider-Man particularly is looking really, really great. I'm very excited to see what the future holds for him, and I'm very excited to see him be one of the leaders in the next two Avengers films. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Are you excited for Spider-Man 4 and the current story that it sounds like we're going to get? And what do you think about Peter Parker basically taking a backseat to Spider-Man in the next film? Let me know all of your thoughts and theories in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on the MCU. Also, if you subscribe and leave a comment, you're entered in our our giveaway for a chance to win a PS5, an Xbox Series X, or some Marvel Legends items. We pick one winner at the end of each month, and the winner picks one item. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.